Happy Monday and welcome back to the Beer Experience.
Hello.
That would be Paul Hoffman.
Right, with an H.
How would you describe yourself at this fine establishment?
I'm a short, slender man who's quiet, dislikes heavy metal, and hates beer.
You do hate beer. Wow.
Yeah.
What sort of function do you perform here?
Oh, I don't, not a whole lot of anything really. No, sometimes I serve beers over there.
Over there?
Yeah, over there.
Okay, well, we'll bring a picture of that in there later.
Yeah, but I own the PetSkull Brewing Co.
Okay, very nice.
Yep.
Just on your own?
With my wife, Kathy. Remember last week we were talking about how I own her?
Right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if she owned as you own.
Yeah.
When you own her.
We're 50-50. I think she's looking to buy me out because she wants all of the fun here.
Oh, well, you can understand that. She's been having a remarkable amount of fun.
Remarkable amount of fun.
We should have her on the show sometime, maybe.
That'll never happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good to know.
Never happen.
Maybe she could call in.
That'll never happen.
We don't have any phones, so it could happen.
So there you go.
We'd never know.
Right.
I'm Tim from Manitowoc Public
Hi,
Library.
Tim.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
In case you didn't know who I was, but it's great to be back here for week 2. Stop looking at my notes.
I'm trying to find answers to the bad questions you asked.
Oh, they'll be coming later. Don't worry about that. But you have time to think about it. Don't worry. It all worked out. So
okay, hurry up. I got somewhere I got to be.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
So how's it been being open for like nearly a week and a half?
Crazy, Tim. Absolutely crazy. The crowds have been fantastic. Such good support. We're blown away by the people that are genuinely happy for us, and they're so excited, and they're thanking us for what we did to the building, and it's been remarkable. It's been remarkable.
That's great. I mean, the couple of times that I've stepped in, and enjoyed myself here, I would say that I didn't recognize most of the people.
A lot of new people, which is really kind of cool because that means we're kind of spreading out. We still got those core folks that have been with us since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get a lot of new people in. Sometimes the new people get a little bit scared when we do things like Schnitsky!
Like your shirt. Can you other way? There we go.
There we go.
And what is Schnitsky, just so people know in case they don't know who are following along?
Schnitsky's our flagship beer. It's our German Hefeweizen. We've had it since day one. We've never not ever had it. And for some weird reason, we started yelling it when people ordered it because it's a fun word to yell out.
It is.
Just wait, right? Schnitsky!
It's
funny.
It is good.
It's funny. It's good. Yeah. And so some of the new people were like startled. There was a little urine on the floor because there was some peeing.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they were just European. Is that possible?
I see what you did there.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's clever wordplay. I believe that's what the kids call it.
You must work at the library.
I do, at least until they see that joke.
and then you can go work somewhere else.
Okay, fair enough. So would you say that are more new people coming in than locals? What's the blend? Like, what's the percentage?
I think it's well over. I mean, a lot of out-of-towners. Yesterday on Sunday was a lot of out-of-town people.
Okay.
But if you compare like the old school folks who used to come, all the time at the old place versus now,
okay,
that's like 70% new people, 30%. Really? Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy.
I mean, it's a lot bigger too. So I mean, you obviously can see everyone better too.
And the promotion has been so good for this new space. I mean, from everything from the city to the local media and things like that. So people are hearing about it, and so people are just kind of curious and checking it out. And of course, we're getting rave reviews on the building, as we should, because it's
gorgeous.
It's gorgeous in here. It's
beautiful. And I wish I had like a third or fourth camera to show everything, but you haven't done.
Well, they have to come in.
Do you need to come into PetSkull just to see? Yeah. The only decoration that I would say there are the beer signs.
Right, and we love it because that gives it a lot of color.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of Cream City brick. We got a lot of wood. There's darker colors in here because it's very cozy, very homey. Yeah. And then you look behind the bar and boom, there's a bunch of color on the back wall with all the different beers.
Yeah,
so,
it's great, and it doesn't really need anything more.
No,
I mean the building is so beautiful; it really doesn't need additional art.
It really doesn't. But I might throw up a couple paintings I did.
Ooh, that you did personally?
Yeah,
on velvet.
On just paper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what's subject typically?
Just like football players.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of a masculine vibe.
Yeah, just like just like a bunch of guys running around.
Beefy guys running around.
Beefy guys running around in helmets.
That's incredible. What is, not to shift gears too quickly, but what would you say? Do you have a beer that has jumped out as being your best-selling favorite beer at the moment?
It's funny. The number, it's pretty close, but we still sell the most. Schnitski!
Really?
It is. And it's still the biggest seller. But a very, very close second is our brand new Gum Skull Sea Salt and Lime Lager, which we're going to be talking about today.
We are. Yeah. So
that beer's been selling spectacularly, which I'm really happy about because, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, we donate some of the proceeds to a local organization.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So let's get to that in a little bit.
Sure. Hey,
do you think Schnitski? Do you think people like it because it's also in the biggest glass?
Yeah, I think that actually how it's kind of started. So that's the one we serve in the big 23-ounce German beer glass. I'm moving. You see, it's about that big.
Okay.
Big. And it's 23 ounces, and you pay the same price that you would for probably some other 16-ounce pours. So you get a lot of beer at a great price. So,
yeah.
And this is Manitowoc after all.
People love a bargain.
They do.
And beer. From what I understand.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, so let's review. Last week we did. Are you looking at my notes again?
No, I'm staring off. I'm thinking.
Okay. We reviewed German lagers and pilsners.
Right. Yep.
Now, would it be inaccurate to describe those as more simple, more straightforward beers?
Yeah, the ones we talked about last week for sure. Those were straightforward. Your Czech Pilsner, the Munich Helles, the Munich Dunkel, though I would say those are probably more straightforward. There are some lagers though that are a little bit on the beefier side, if you will. I mean, like
sure.
The Doppelbock.
Oh yeah,
is one we have every January. We call it our Goat Skull Doppelbock.
Okay,
that's a big one. They can be anywhere from 8 to 11% alcohol. Those are big ones, very flavorful, very malty. So those are that people think, lagers are all middle of the road, easy drinkers. Not all of them, right?
So the one you just talked about, would that still have adhered to the Reinheitsgebot, the
yes,
German beer purity?
Yes, absolutely.
So just with the 4 ingredients, and it bangs out a much bigger beer.
Yeah, because when you brew beer and you want a bigger alcohol content, it means more malt. Well, the more malt you have, the more maltier flavor of the beer, the more full-bodied it is.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, but that's kind of what I meant by straightforward, was that it adhered to the very basics of brewing.
Sure. But, there's a lot of beers that adhere to the very, very basics of brewing that are kind of crazy and bigger, I guess, if you will. I mean, like as an example, this is our Balkansky Russian stout.
Okay.
I mean, that's the same thing. It's got the 4 ingredients. It's got your malt, your water, your hops, and your yeast. That's all there is to it.
Okay.
But a lot of the malts are darker, dark roasted malts, give you that chocolate, coffee kind of character to it. So you can still have the basic simple 4 ingredients.
Okay. And do more with it.
But do more with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would the German beer purity law, like I know that some of your beers, you age them in like bourbon barrels or wine barrels, things like that.
Yeah.
Would that have been allowed with the German beer purity law if you're just using those ingredients?
That's a really good question, because you're still using the same ingredients to brew the beer.
Yeah.
So the beer ferments out, it becomes alcohol with just those 4 ingredients. And then you're just conditioning it so you're just conditioning it. So it's not really another ingredient. I'll have to get back to you on that.
All right. By next week, perhaps.
Send me a text and I will not respond.
Well, that's okay. As long as you answer me next week,
okay,
I will send you the textual message.
Thank you.
Well, so should we move on to the beers this week?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So we're moving on to Belgian ales and fruited beers.
Right. Yes.
So, just briefly,
which they're not really related, but it was just that two great styles to talk about today.
It's true,
right?
But even though the beers we're talking about today aren't exactly this type of beer,
right?
Lambics,
right,
which is beer with fruit added into it, essentially to simplify it, really, are very popular in Belgium.
Right,
they're hugely popular.
Absolutely. There. So you're right. There's a bit of a connotation there and a little bit of a connection.
Yeah. Although this is like Americanized, I would say, or PetSkull version.
Yeah, Americanized PetSkull, current.
Yeah.
Kind of modern.
Have you ever had goose?
Yes.
Which that is such a thick beer
Right.
out of Belgium. I
Yep.
mean, it is like you can have one because it's
Yeah.
like syrup.
Right, absolutely. But you know, a lot of times we drink too fast, right? A beer like that makes you slow down.
Oh, that's a dessert beer.
Yeah, and absolutely enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I've got friends that drink dessert beers like they're Busch Lights.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh no, it's not good.
Not good. Enjoy.
No, enjoy it. Enjoy the taste of what you're doing. I mean, I think actually that's one of the reasons, you know, we're doing this show. It's like to explain the enjoyment and what goes into the process
Sure.
of beer.
Yeah.
So that's not just like slamming.
Right.
You know?
And I've never claimed to be an expert in any stretch of the imagination, but you know, like, as I mentioned last week, just trying to promote the fact that, you know, craft beer doesn't have to be that, oh, that's motor oil or that's
Right.
all hoppy.
Yeah.
There's so many different styles. And, you know, it's interesting with so many new people coming into the place recently, we're having to do a lot more explaining.
Oh,
Like,
That's
what's
great,
your life
though.
beer? Right. And we have a chance to kind of, you know, work with them. We'll do small little, hey, can I just try? You know, there's little plastic cups. We'll throw a little
Sure.
H in the bottom. Hey, just try it. There's no way for you to know what it's all about. And then it's amazing. I had somebody in yesterday that said, I want something light. So I gave them our Harry Doyle Jr., the Czech Pilsner, and they just didn't really like it. And that's one of our lightest
Yeah.
beers. And she had tried a couple of them. And the one that she actually decided on was our angst-ridden West Coast IPA.
really, which is very good, but I wouldn't call that a light beer.
It's not light, but it tastes very beery, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that's another foreign ingredient, right?
Yeah,
But the hops are big in it, so we'll be
Yeah.
talking about that, I think, next week.
that is correct.
Okay,
Yes. Are you doing a lot of flights, by the way?
tons of flights.
I believe
Tons.
it.
So flights are
Good
5
call.
ounce,
Explain
5
it.
ounce samplers. We do 5 at a time. You can do any 5. It's $15. We keep it nice and easy. And oh my God, we fill so many flights. Which, you know, how else are you going to learn about it? How else are you going to learn
Right.
about the different styles? So, yeah, a lot.
Okay. Well, you know what? I want to say one thing before we move on to the beers. Please type in your questions and comments into your comments bar on either Facebook or YouTube. And we might not get them to them when you post them, but we always leave time at the end to answer
Right.
questions
Yes.
and address comments. So let us take a turn for the beer.
Turn for the beer.
All right, let me bring the beers in.
Wow! Look at the colors. They're
Look
pretty.
at that. They're very pretty.
Very
They are
pretty.
very pretty, and it's a rainbow of beers.
It's a rainbow.
Oh, taste the rainbow.
Taste the rainbow. Is that a Lucky Charms commercial?
I believe it's Skittles.
Never mind.
Well, which are like Lucky Charms in no way.
That's true.
Exactly. So,
Sorry.
you know, also everyone should note, I'm going to switch this and turn the focus to the beer, but remember that we have to pour these beforehand. And normally there would be more head and
Yeah.
they'd be even more beautiful. So
It is. I mean, when you pour a beer, you want the best appearance possible.
Yeah.
You'd like a little bit of at least like a 1-inch head on these beers, so they look beautiful. They get nice lacing on the glass. But we pour these ahead of time, obviously, so they drop out a little bit.
they drop out a little bit, but they are still absolutely gorgeous. And let me switch over here.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the focus is on that. Now, Paul, why don't you move center? Because people
Oh.
don't need to see me.
Here,
You know, as you're
here,
talking.
here.
There we go. Very, very cozy. All right. So, Paul, let's start with the beer furthest to the left as people are looking. The Hooster Shadle.
The Hooster Shadle. Is that how you say that?
Hooster Shadle.
I'll believe you.
Try it one more time.
No.
Okay, fair enough. What is that all about?
So that is currently our one Belgian beer offering.
Okay.
So the Belgian beer family, it's actually my absolute favorite family of beers. They're hard to brew. I mean, I think they're hard to brew. They're very yeast dependent, meaning you get almost all of your flavor from the yeast that you're using. That gives you so Belgian beers have maybe a sweeter side to them.
Okay.
Maybe a lot of them, especially this one right here, this is our Belgian Duvel. It has a lot of dark fruit characteristics to it. So think like raisins and figs and prune. Some Belgian beers have a little bubblegum characteristic to them as well.
Really?
Yeah. So it kind of the general stepping of Belgian beers. You got the Belgian Blonde. That's your lightest, lowest alcohol beer. a little fruity, a little sweet, a little spicy, maybe a little bit. And then you move to the Belgian Dubel, which we have here, the Belgian Tripel, and then the Belgian Quad. And a lot of that basically just says it just increases in alcohol percentage, but the flavors obviously always change as well. So this Hoesterstradel is, by the way, that means PetSkull in Dutch.
Really? In Dutch or Flemish?
I'll have to talk to my wife and get back to you on that.
The reason I ask is,
The reason you ask is to make me look silly in front of people on the television.
You don't need me. You don't need me to look silly. Oh, Paul, are you okay?
I'm okay. Yes, thank you.
All right.
I don't know.
No, because I don't know if you are aware of this, but in Belgium, they speak a version of French
Okay.
called Wallonie, and they speak a version of Dutch called Flemish.
It's obviously you work at a library.
I lived in Belgium for a year.
That's why?
Yeah, that's why.
I thought it was because of the MPL.
Well, no, I mean, I could have learned these things because the MPL has all the knowledge you could ever hope to acquire.
What he said.
But it's funny because some of the Flemish is so close to English that you think people are speaking English,
right?
But they're not. Then a weird word will get thrown in. So I was just curious if it was Flemish or Dutch. Probably Dutch, because Flemish is more obscure.
If I had a guess, and Kathy, my wife, would probably tell me, she probably went to the Google Translator and went in English to Dutch conversion, typed in PetSkull, and it came out Hoesterstradel.
Well, if only she was here, she could confirm.
Kathy, are you here?
No, she's not. She's definitely not.
She would be a far away from the show. Yeah.
So, but you had mentioned that Belgian beers are the hardest for you to brew. Why is that? Like, what makes them more difficult?
Because the yeast requires really controlled fermentation temperature, and what we like to do is start the yeast off a little bit on the colder side, maybe around 64, 65 degrees, and then let it come up throughout the course of fermentation up to 72, 75 degrees to really make sure that, number one, it finishes out strong. When I say finishes out, meaning the yeast is done eating all the sugars, it's done producing alcohol, but you want to make sure that it finishes that process because then it dries it out a little bit. You don't want these beers to be sweet and cloying. You want to be a little bit sweet, but you want them to be somewhat, not crisp necessarily, but dried out a little bit so that they finish nice. And so it's difficult to get that yeast to perform. You need some real consistency. You may do it great in one batch because you raise the temperature right at the exact time. Mm-hmm. But if you don't do these beers like all the time, like they do in the monasteries in Belgium, it's hard to kind of nail it. So when I say difficult, I kind of almost mean from a consistency perspective. To try to get it to work all the time. That's what I find, but I suck. So there.
Well, I mean, obviously you don't suck that much. People enjoy your beer.
They do. They're just too nice to tell me that it sucks.
Always be honest with Paul about his beer.
Yes, please.
He loves honesty.
Thank you.
So I know that you have more Belgians that have been on the menu.
Right.
Is that something that you typically move more towards during fall and winter, or is it just how it worked out?
Here, my goal, now that we've got 20 beers on tap, I'm trying to have more consistent beers up there at all times. Staples, I guess. One of the staples I want isn't necessarily a beer staple. I want a style staple. So I want a Belgian beer at all times.
Okay.
That's the goal now. So when the Hoesterstradel gone, the next step I'm hoping to do is a Belgian Tripel, which we've done that before.
Sure.
It's called the PetSkull Trappist Tripel. But great, and that's a great beer, and that's a bit 9.8%. I have a good friend, John, who fell over one night after drinking a couple of those. Or was he pushed?
I heard a story where he was pushed, but the details are so fuzzy.
If I recall, he fell on his own volition.
I seem to recall it that way too.
Yeah, I do too.
Anyway, no, that's okay. It was a wonderful fall, though.
It was a good fall. It was a great fall. It sounded like a bomb going off.
John, if by any chance you're watching and you'd like to comment, please type in.
Please do. But this has something to do with the library. He has no idea about library events.
No, he doesn't look like a learned reader.
But so we're hoping to have a Belgian presence at all times, and maybe we do a couple at a time. It's because it's a style that I love so much that I would love to start doing and having more up here as well.
Me as well.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Belgian beers.
Yeah.
They're
I
fantastic.
love them.
All right. So
Actually, a Belgian beer, I think there's one Belgian quad is my favorite beer of all time.
which one?
Gulden Draak. I don't remember the name of the brewery. If I knew the name, I couldn't pronounce it anyway.
Okay.
It's just got a beautiful golden dragon on the thing. It's a white bottle. My absolute favorite beer. I think my good neighbor G Money to introducing me to the Gulden Draak.
Oh, well, thank you for introducing Paul to that. That is a delicious beer.
It's beautiful. It's good for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they all are.
They make you feel fuzzy.
They do. So, because we need to keep moving along and we have other beers to get to.
Oh, yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's move on down the line. And the next beer, I believe, is your latest beer, correct?
I think the one next to that, I believe that is our Senior Prickly Pete.
No, that's
that's it. Oh, sorry.
This I believe
You're right.
Is Huffy's Malt Hurricane.
That's the Huffy's Malt Hurricane, right? So so now we're moving more into the fruited side of the world. So a lot of folks are possibly familiar with our Jake's Malt Lemonade, and we've had that since day one, and that was our effort to make a beer because it uses all beer ingredients, very little hops because we don't want any hop presence really at all.
Sure.
We wanted to make it as a beer of sorts that non-beer drinkers will like, and it was a hit. And it's a very, very simple recipe where it's 51% malt, 49% sugar, and a lot of lemon. Okay, so when we were opening this our new space here, we're going to be having food, and our kitchen's going to be having Cajun and Creole fare. And you know that Cajun and Creole is very big in Louisiana and New Orleans. And one of these signature drinks on Bourbon Street is the Hurricane cocktail. It's a cocktail, not a beer, but it's a cocktail. There's light rum, dark rum, orange juice, lime, passion fruit, and grenadine. And it's really dangerous because it tastes like Kool-Aid.
Okay.
But it's really good. So, well, you know, and we don't serve liquor here. So I was starting to think, well, why don't we take that idea of the Jake's Malt Lemonade, which is that simple grain and sugar bill, and let's get the lemon out of that, and let's maybe do a Hurricane. So that's what we did. It's 51% brewer's malt, 49% sugar, and then we threw in orange juice, passion fruit, lime, and then we do a splash of grenadine when you pour it. It's very refreshing. I think you don't have to be a beer lover to like that, and I'm hoping that it catches on because I'd love to have it year round as a kind of an homage to, you know, Bourbon Street in New Orleans,
and a compliment to the food that you'll be serving as well.
Exactly. Right.
Now, when you say orange juice in the brewing process, literally orange juice goes in?
I literally put orange juice in.
Okay.
Right? Yep. So what we do is we when we transfer all of the beer, when we boil the beer, we move it into a fermenter, and that's the vessel that you ferment in.
Yes.
That's where you add the yeast, and that's where it becomes an alcoholic beverage. And at the end of that process, no, actually, now that we move it in, I've been trying to think myself. We actually add the orange juice, the lime juice, and the passion fruit right in the fermenter.
Wow.
Yeah. And we let it all just go. Let all the sugars mingle. It worked out. We did one test batch, and we thought it was pretty good. So
that's pretty amazing. I mean, you know, this is what I especially like about this because, you know, you can drink it, and it's fine to just drink it.
Yeah.
But it's also, for me, really fun to learn about what goes into the process of how what comes out of the tap gets there.
How we got to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things I'm hoping to maybe do now we got a bigger space and we got a much bigger brewery, and it's a lot bigger process, is I would start entertaining maybe doing some maybe quasi beer tours, but in an effort to maybe teach people the process and what goes into it and how it happens. There's so many different things you can do, and there's a lot of creativity that goes into it, and this is a perfect example of how you can be creative with it.
You're like Miller Brewing.
Or just like Miller
with
Brewing.
the tour,
with the caves and everything.
There are caves
underneath Miller Brewing.
Oh, I thought you meant here.
Oh no, not here.
Oh,
well, it could be.
That's a little. Let's
find out.
Keep watching.
Thank you.
So, fun fact about Huffy's Malt Hurricane.
What's that?
My wife, who you may know,
Dr. Mara.
Correct.
Yeah.
when she's not being a doctor.
Okay.
That's her favorite right now.
Well, she's my favorite.
Far and away. Excuse me?
She's my favorite.
Favorite veterinarian?
One of my favorite customers.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Bring her around more often.
Maybe, or maybe not. All right, let's move on to the next one. And this is one that you want to mention for a couple reasons, actually. It is the Gumskull Sea. Let me try that again. I said that poorly.
Say it.
The Gumskull Sea Salt and Lime Lager.
Yep. So my good friend, Rob Rossef, who runs Gumby's Club for a Cure, which is a local organization that contributes to families affected by cancer, approached me months and months ago and asked if I would consider brewing a special beer in support of their cause. And I said, absolutely. What do you want to do? So we kind of brainstormed, and he said, I want this to kind of run during like a summer promotion. What would be a good summer beer? Obviously with summer, you think it's something that's crisp and clean, but a little fruited. And he had this idea of, because it's something that Miller did years ago, I guess, that used salt and lime in a really clean lager. And I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I mean, I like Corona with a lime. I mean, I could drink, 9 or 10 of those an hour easily, right? and I'm also a big fan of, lime margaritas, salt on the rim and everything. And I'm like, this sounds good. So Rai, my brewmaster, and I, we sat down, we kind of figured out kind of a recipe, and it came out spectacular. Gumby and his wife loved it. And so what we're doing now is for every pint of the Gumskull sold, we are contributing a quarter to Gumby's Club for a Cure.
Ongoing?
We're probably going to end it in September.
Okay.
It's going to be in next summer. We'll do it again. We'll start it off in summer. So it's going to be one of our summer seasonals. And so every summer from here on out, a quarter for every pint that we sell goes to Gumby's Club for a Cure.
That's fantastic.
And I think it's nice.
It is nice, and even though we do a lot of smart talk on the show, Paul does a ton of things like this. You help out Roncalli. You've certainly helped out the library. And you helped out the night market when they started.
Yep, sure.
Paul is very involved with making the downtown community and the community of Manitowoc, period, a better place. And, for how quiet and small you are, people probably don't even... Slender. I forgot Slender.
Slender, yeah.
But Slender Man was based on you, actually, wasn't it? Kind of, except shorter.
We don't talk about it.
No, we don't. But actually, Paul does a tremendous amount of good for the community beyond just having a wonderful place. And I just thought I'd bring that up because, since you brought up the Gumskull, which is a very refreshing, wonderful beer.
Right.
It's just so great that you're helping out such a good cause.
It's one of the reasons that we wanted to do this. When I say this, I mean 4 years ago, PetSkull. I want to be involved in the community and partner with other businesses, partner with other organizations, just kind of be a part of it. I wanted to be a part of it. And now I think we're a big part of it. So it's really cool. So now I'm looking to kind of maybe spearhead some things. This was great to get involved with Gumby's Club for a Cure, but I'm looking to kind of spearhead some other things and we're going to take the lead on that. So I appreciate you recognizing that. That's huge. That's big to us.
That's awesome. It really is. All smart mouthery aside,
right?
That really, it's fantastic what you do.
Thank you, Timothy.
You're welcome, sir. So do you put lime and salt in the brewing in the fermenter?
Absolutely. So we use real lime in the fermenter, and we actually add sea salt. And it's just that combination of salt and lime with that crisp block, that's been just selling like mad.
Oh yeah, very refreshing.
Very refreshing. And interestingly enough, yesterday we introduced a new Sunday morning beer brunch cocktail called a Michelada.
Michelada.
Which is like a Mexican Bloody Mary, which is in essence, it's almost like a clam digger, right? We got Clamato, Worcestershire, Tabasco, celery salt, and then we mix it with the Gumskull, which is the sea salt and lime lager, a little pickle in there. Oh,
so but no vodka.
12 or 13 every 10 minutes.
You have to have very controlled breathing to drink beer that quickly.
You do, but no vodka, right? So it's really low alcohol, very refreshing.
Yeah.
It's our version of a clam digger here at the old brewery.
Perfect for the patio, I would imagine.
Very perfect for the patio.
And is that going to be ongoing? Like every Sunday, that'll be offered?
My intent is to do it every Sunday. I think that's a great Sunday morning kind of thing.
Fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we had that yesterday. So just a Funny side note to the Gum Skull.
So it's like a sequel to the Gum Skull.
It's a sequel,
All
right?
very nice.
Just like Empire Strikes Back.
Very much so. Which is easily the best sequel.
That's
that or Rocky 2.
Rocky 2 is probably better.
I think it's The Empire Strikes Back.
Rocky. I mean, how when she went into the coma, she comes out and she says, "Do something for me." What? Win. Oh, I lose it every time.
That actress, Talia Shire.
Oh.
We brought up my wife earlier.
Yeah.
Talia Shire and my wife Mara once arm wrestled for a cookie at a party.
You know all the good things about the world, don't you?
I was there, and I'm like, I'm just going to have an adult beverage and watch this
me?
play out. No, that really happened.
Every time I talk to Tim, he's got some weird story. Do you know that Tim played a court reporter on special Law and Order?
Not SV.
No, just Law and Order.
Yeah.
The original. He's a goddamn celebrity.
I was in the background.
Okay.
Mara does far more interesting things.
Well, we know that, Tim.
But thank you. So let's move on to the final and a super pretty beer.
It's very pretty.
The Senor Prickly Pete.
Senor Prickly Pete.
Tell us about the Senor.
This was Ryan, our brewmaster's idea. He knew a guy that was bringing in prickly pear from Mexico. And the prickly pear is something that not a lot of people know about.
Sure.
It grows on cactus, and it's almost kind of like a cross between like a strawberry and a rhubarb almost. And he had this great idea about making a Mexican lager, which is really crisp and clean, and using prickly pear. And that's been a huge hit, and it's beautiful. It's very pinkish red in color.
Yeah, it looks like a glass of red wine almost.
Really? Yes, it does. Now that you say it, it does.
Yeah.
And it's just a hint of sweetness. It really isn't overpowering. It looks almost sweeter than it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to drink. And like everything else here, the name has like kind of a personal connotation to my wife and I.
How so with this one?
Well, Senor, obviously, because it's a Mexican lager, and the prickly pear, so that's where the prickly comes from. So you may be wondering where the peat comes from. If you're a Seinfeld fan, they referenced Prickly Pete was the horse in one of the,
right.
I think it was. I'll have to ask Kathy again about this. I forgot. Something to do with Seinfeld.
What a very in-depth explanation
Sorry.
of the name.
I just like make the beers. I don't even do that anymore. I don't even know what I do here.
You do this show.
That's all I do.
But no, the Senor Prickly Pete, it's my personal favorite summer beer here.
Yeah.
And I don't like sweets, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm not a big sweets guy, but this is just so refreshing. And it's got that hint of fruitiness.
Yeah.
But with a little kind of, like you said, a rhubarby almost bite to it.
Yeah. The thing I like about it, it's very mellow. Some of those fruit beers
Super
can
mellow.
get overdone.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got some here that are, for example, we got our blueberry wheat, our indigo mob blueberry wheat. That's big on a blueberry. Very big. But
again, not very sweet though.
No, I guess you're right. Not really.
It's very blueberry forward.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you use real blueberries in the brew?
We use both. Yeah, absolutely. So we use like puree. You get like big, gigantic boxes of Oregon fruit puree. So it's real blueberries. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I love finding this stuff out. And since I've come to PetSkull once or twice, you'd think I'd know some of this stuff, but I don't.
That's because normally when we're in here, we're just talking gibberish anyway.
That's true.
This is the only time we've ever had
barely English.
If you think this is a serious conversation, you're right. For us, it is.
For us, it is. This is as smart as it gets.
Yeah. It all goes downhill from here.
It does.
Yeah.
And it probably will.
It will.
And continue in that direction. So, great information on all these beers. I would just like to go down the line. I don't think people can see the pointer, but you can see the pointer.
On the left.
I'd like to know what would be good to eat with each of these beers.
So on a Belgian Debel like this, it's strange. I love a good cheese with this one. Maybe like a really aged, like a good Swiss or an aged cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it complements itself perfectly with that because It's very sweet, that dark fruit. And if you get something sharp to go with it, I think it's perfect.
Now, you've never been to Belgium, right?
I have not.
Okay, because the reason I ask is in Belgium, when you order beers, they give you a specific food snack, a food complement to go with it. And frequently with doubles, they give you a little bowl of cubed sharper and aged cheese.
And I honestly did not know that.
No,
I'm just telling you what I like with it.
No,
Okay.
and that's, but it goes great with it. I agree with you completely. That
Beautiful.
is an excellent food choice.
Beautiful.
What about the Malt Hurricane?
Well, I think that one is obvious. Some really flavorful Creole style food. Whether that's like a crawfish etouffee or something, a real rich with a real rich red sauce.
A muffaletta, maybe?
Ooh, that wouldn't be bad either.
Which may soon be available, these items.
At
Where?
PetSkull Brewing, 1015 Buffalo Street.
What was that address again?
1015 Buffalo Street.
In Manitowoc, Wisconsin?
54220.
Perfect.
Thank you.
What about the Senor Prickly Pete?
So, because I think this one is so crisp and clean with that little bit of salt and a little bit of lime in there, I think a beer like that would be perfect on your patio at home during summer with a big bowl of tortilla chips and some spicy salsa.
Nice.
Like some spicy pico de gallo or something. I think that'd be perfect.
Now I'm not just thirsty, I'm hungry.
And me too.
Yeah.
But I normally am. So
Oh,
there's nothing different about that.
And what about I skipped one. I went Senor Prickly Pete.
Oh, you did? I was going to say, I thought.
What about the Gum Skull?
The Gum Skull is the one that I wanted to do the chips and salsa.
Oh, okay. But what about Senor Prickly Pete?
Senor Prickly Pete, then, oddly enough, when I was thinking about what would be a good food to pair with that, what came to my mind? I have no idea why.
No.
A chili dog.
That would go great with it.
A really nice, big, fat hot dog with, chili and cheese and onions.
Raw onions. Oh,
with
yeah.
the Prickly Pete.
Oh.
For some reason, that's just the one thing that just jumped out at me. Like, I might have to have a chili dog.
Oh, good gravy. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, good gravy.
All right. Ooh, getting a different color because of the sun. Oh, it's so nice.
It is.
Once again, I have to point out that we found this corner, which is a little darker than last week. But this place, the sun exposure is it's absurd.
It's crazy. And we're going to put a couple of shades up here when it gets really bad.
Sure.
To just kind of block that off. It is so bright in here. It's so cool because everything is so homey and cozy because of the brick and the wood. But then there's so many beautiful windows in here. It's light. The place is spectacular.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, if you haven't stopped by PetSkull, you should. They open at what time on Wednesday?
3 o'clock.
3 to 11. Stop in at 3 o'clock on Wednesday.
Come on in.
Middle of the week.
Right.
What better way to make it to Friday than stop in and see a beautiful place and
on
maybe
a Wednesday.
have a beverage on a Wednesday?
Yeah, and then not a chili dog.
Not yet.
Bring it in.
Do you allow BYO chili dogs?
Until we have our kitchen going, you can bring in any food you want, specifically chili dogs, specifically when Paul's working.
So bring a chili dog for Paul. That's kind of like the tariff.
If you're saying that, that's fine.
Okay, you didn't say that, but I'm willing to say that. So, all right, let's start at the beginning again. I'd like you to give me one word for each beer, a one-word description.
Yeah.
So the Belgian, the Hoosterstedel.
I'm going to put two words with a dash in
A
between.
hyphenated word.
Dark fruit.
All right.
I know dark is technically, an adjective, but
that's okay.
I don't want to say fruit because I don't want you to think like strawberries.
No.
Dark fruit specifically.
Strawberries is a different beer you make.
It is. Yeah,
okay. So then the Malt Hurricane.
Bourbon Street. Bourbon. New Orleans. That's two words too. Louisiana.
Louisiana. I'd allow you to use a dash in Bourbon Street. If
Bourbon
you
Street
to.
dash. Bourbon Street.
All right. What about
Pat O'Brien's? No, that's two words.
No, that's also two words.
I can't get away from this. Okay.
Mardi Gras might be hyphenated. It's not, but we can say it is.
Good.
All right. And what about the Gum Skull?
One word for Gum Skull. Gumby.
Yep.
Gumby's Club for a Cure.
Yep. And the Senor Prickly Pete.
Ryan, my brewmaster.
Oh,
he's the one that kind of came up with that whole idea. So that'd be Rye.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now let me go to that.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, let me do this.
Okay.
And then this.
Gotcha.
It's now time for America's favorite show.
The Wheel of Fortune?
No, Stump the Brewmeister.
Oh, okay.
Where I asked Paul Hoffman, in this case, 6 questions.
6? Wasn't it 5 last time?
It was 7.
Well, thank God.
That may or may not have. Oh, no, wait. Before we get to that, let's see if there are any questions or
okay.
comments.
Sorry. You're a terrible
Sorry.
host.
Thank you. That's quite a compliment. So I'm just going to get rid of that and bring us up here and go to the questions. And let's see. Well, this isn't a question. It's a review.
Oh.
Which tells us from Emily Brandt, the Dunkel is fantastic.
Oh, Emily, thank you very much. We have gotten really rave reviews on that. I think it's fantastic. It turned out great. And I love it because that's that old school German lager we were talking about.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a very delightful beer. I'll just keep going straight down.
Let's go.
Mort says that this is very interesting.
That's a word for it.
It is. Well, it's 2 words actually, Paul. Very and interesting, 2 separate words. I mean, I hate to get technical, but
Mort, I'm hoping that's a good thing.
Justin wants to see the caves. I think we all do, really.
I will show you the caves, Justin, and I will show you more than that if you ask.
Politely?
Yeah, just say please.
Sure.
I know Justin very well.
Please.
So that's why I can say that to him.
Thank you are so important. Wayne says that is interesting, Paul.
Outstanding.
Contributing back. Outstanding. That is outstanding.
Contributing back to the community.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's I'm going to shout it from the rooftops, Tim.
Well, please do.
PetSkull is a proud member of this community. Looking forward to making Manitowoc great, greater. It's great right now. Let's make it greater. Let's make it just become everything it can be. Let's get more people in Manitowoc. Let's get more business in Manitowoc. Let's make Manitowoc a destination that it should be. We're in a beautiful location here. I think we got every opportunity. Right now, as I look out the window, what do I see? The tower at Lincoln High School with an American flag flying in front. It's amazing. The city's great.
Yeah.
As Justin Nichols will tell you.
Well, he will tell you that is very true. But you know what I liked about what you said is that you see PetSkull helping the community to reach its potential, its full potential.
Right.
Which is great. I love that approach.
I just that's just what I want to do. I mean, I'm going to leave it at that. I've got some derogatory comments about cities to the south of us, not Cleveland.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Because customers might come from
You're right.
a place nearby.
Yeah.
All right. Justin, checking back in again with, are you going to have that every Sunday? And I'm assuming.
Yes. Talk about the Michelada.
The Michelada, yes.
Yep. Justin, I guarantee you will easily do 13 to 15 every 22 minutes.
Do you know why he was asking that? Because he thinks it's very good.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, and he has corrected you to merely 12 an hour.
Oh, well, so obviously Justin's trying to slow it down.
Well, it's Sunday. And then what do we have going on here?
Wayne again said he drove 900-ish miles to visit our old place. Can't wait to see the new one.
You won't be disappointed.
Wayne,
it's worth the drive.
You're going to flip out on this place. I mean, it is. I think we've kept PetSkull exactly as it is. It's just bigger and better.
Yeah. It is. And I was thinking that when I was here this weekend, like the vibe is after a week, like it's already finding its footing in that it is just like the old place, just bigger and better and more exuberant. And the shenaniganing
is still there.
It's still there and even bigger.
Yeah. And the funny thing is because we have this huge, beautiful outdoor patio right now, right? So 1/2 to 3/4 of all of our beer drinkers are outside at all times. So it's weird being in here because it's like it's not very full. Everybody's outside. Yeah. Well, I think when the weather starts cooling down and people are back in here, look out.
I agree. The fire pits, though.
Yeah,
the fire pits. Cool. People love fire pits.
They do love fire pits.
But no, in January.
Yeah, we'll bring them out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the fire pits?
We'll do it all the time.
Oh, I was just going to say the shenaniganing will be huge.
Maybe I'll bring the fire pits in here. Okay, never mind.
There's so much wood.
Never mind. The fire pits are not coming in here.
Oh, one new thing just came in. It's amazing. Addressing the building.
Yeah, and Justin
want to move in.
He wants to move in. Just I'll clean up after yourself. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of under table space. I think
lots.
Okay, Sounds perfect. But now it is time for America's favorite game.
The Wheel of
Stump the
Fortune?
Brew.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Stump the
Oh,
Brewmeister.
okay, yeah.
Are you ready, Paul?
No, but go.
All right. Technically speaking, Trappist beer needs to be brewed by Trappist monks to be considered authentic.
Right.
Why did the Trappists initially undertake the brewing of beer?
All of the sales that they made went to support the poor in the community.
That is, I will accept that answer. Technically, it was also to become self-sufficient.
Oh, so that they could live.
They could cover their own living expenses.
But they did donate a lot, right?
Absolutely. Every single cent that went beyond their living expenses was donated to the
Do I
community.
get a half a point?
You get a full point.
Oh, thank you.
Because you,
Ding.
like the Trappist monks, are doing the same thing. You're doing it here.
Doing
Very good one. I also heard a rumor that some of the beers were invented to replace food during Lent when they were fasting.
I heard of that about Doppelbox, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I like it.
I like both. You know, you're replacing bread
Yeah.
and you're giving back to the community.
It's beautiful.
Okay, number 2. As you probably remember, I was an exchange student to Belgium during high school.
I do remember. We were good friends.
Later we were.
Oh, yeah.
What was the first beer I drank when I arrived in Belgium as a student?
Old style?
No.
Oh.
It's a Belgian beer. I'll give you a hint.
Gulendrak.
No.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, that would have been a heck of a beer to start with.
That would have been great.
It was actually Chimay Red.
Oh! Chimays are good.
They're fantastic. It's still
Beautiful.
one of my favorite beers.
Yeah.
All of them.
So it was like, welcome to Belgium, Tim.
It was at a youth hostel that was in a former monastery that had been ceded back to the town.
You've done so much in your life.
I've done 8 things. You know 6 of them. But here is one that you may not know, which is a bonus question.
Oh, okay.
What was the name of the bar in which I had my first Belgian beer?
Revolutions.
No, I hear the parking there is horrible.
Not very well. They got a lot of parking.
Do they?
Yeah.
For customers only, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, customers only.
No, it was called the Crypt.
I like that name.
And it was actually the crypt from the monastery. They had one fluorescent light bulb and the rest was all just candles.
Yeah.
And it was dirt floors and stone walls. And rumor had it there were still monks buried in that crypt.
That's awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
That's a great name.
It sets the bar really high too for like going to bars when you just turn 18.
I think it's perfect.
I thought so too.
Perfect.
Number 3, according to tasteatlas.com, what is the most popular style of beer consumed in Belgium?
What's the most popular style of beer consumed in Belgium?
Yes.
Style.
Well, type. What?
A saison.
Oh, good guess, but absolutely wrong.
Oh, okay.
It is a tie between Belgian-style triple ale
Okay.
and Pilsner.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they like it, you know, more flavorful, and then to back off from
A little bit.
I guess. Okay. I saw a lot of great bands when I lived in Belgium, including Queen with Freddie Mercury.
Did you really?
I did.
Holy wow. You've done it all.
It was very nice. My question to you is, who opened for Queen when I saw them?
Oh, okay. This is easy. RDO Speedwagon.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That would have made more sense. It was Bow Wow Wow.
Oh,
I want candy. Yeah. It was.
How did I not know that?
I don't know. Oh, you should have. We talk about it all the time.
We do. I want. Okay.
Okay. Action star karate champion Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yeah. Right. Yes.
is from Belgium.
He is.
What is his professional nickname?
The Assassin.
Oh, that's a good one, but that's not right.
Is that it?
It's the Muscles from Brussels. I thought you'd know that one for sure.
Do I know anything about movies?
Can you
movie
name
stuff?
one Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? I bet you can.
Nope, I can't.
Bloodsport. I thought you'd get Bloodsport for
No,
sure. Okay.
no.
And the last one. What is the number one brand of beer consumed in Belgium?
Brand of beer.
Like which beer?
Chimay.
That is incorrect. It is Orval Trappist Ale.
So what I do? Go one for 6.
One, yeah.
I'm a very stupid person.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You
I'm
think
going to
I
move
am.
in close.
You think I'm stupid.
No, I think you're wonderful and
stupid.
smart, and
You think I'm stupid.
for such a short, thin guy, you're fairly handsome.
That's a slender.
Turn back to the camera.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of your
I'm
fans.
good.
All right, so that is it for this week. Thank you very much for joining us for the second week of the beer experience.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. This is fun with Tim. I'm really not that stupid. I do know some things about some things.
You do. You know a lot of things.
I know a lot of things about NFL football.
Like which things are that? Are those?
Ask me one.
If you had to bet on the Cowboys,
Yeah.
And they were down by 14.
Yep.
And there was 58 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
How much would you bet that they would come back and win that game?
87 cents.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So ask me questions like that next time.
All right. I'll try and make them more sport and very specific oriented.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can try. I can try my best. But thank you so much for joining us. Please come and join us next week again.
That's the final episode.
That is the final episode,
installment.
final installment of the
Final
beer
installment.
experience. And what will we be exploring that week?
IPAs.
That is correct.
IPAs.
On the last week, we'll be discussing and exploring IPAs. So thank you so much for joining us.
Sign up. Have a great Monday evening, everybody. Make this week your